Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TGP1 Season 42. It is opening night around Bahrain. We have got just about 3 minutes left in the session before we get going into the first race of the season. New Zealand Cam is your provisional pole sitter on a 27.2, showing his pace early on in the season. The Ferrari man out in front as his closest rival, Casper, out on track now. He's going to be the first man to cross the line and begin his final run. Can he close that gap? It's 8/10 of a second, a big gap. Can he get anywhere near that to challenge for pole position? We are getting ready to go. It's the 42nd season of the longest running Formula One racing league known to PlayStation. It's TGP1. We've got short qualifying with a 35% race here in Bahrain, which will have the safety car on. We're going to fly over to Jeddah quickly after that for a one-shot qualifying. Can't make any mistakes in that with a 25% race, and the safety car will be turned off. It's just going to be like last season. We are going to have the top 14 all scoring points in this season throughout the 20 races. Everyone is coming out now. You can see the dots on the right hand side of your screen flooding out now to get that final runs. Casper going to have to get them tyres warm and get ready to go and try and avoid traffic. Obviously he's P2 on the front row of the grid, but he'll want to avoid all the traffic ahead, tyres getting warmed up by the guys further back. But he's coming round the final corner now to start his lap in the Mercedes. He was in the Alpine last season. He's in the Mercedes as we get going. We'll watch Casper and see what he can do on the run up to turn number one. It's all about your braking. When does he brake? When does he pull the trigger? He's going to leave it as late as he possibly can before the 100-meter board. Turning in third gear. It's not as smooth as he would like in the Mercedes, but he's kept it in between the white lines. He'll open the DRS, use a bit of the battery, and use every single bit of track he can as he brakes around the 50-meter board, and you see the smoke coming off his rear wheels. He's using every bit of pace that Mercedes car will allow him to, and he is improving by 0.2 of a second. Can he get close to the Scuderia of former champion New Zealand Cam? Obviously Casper does have a couple of wins to his name last season in his debut season. What can he do the second time around? It was a hard shift last season. Softy dominating, winning the championship. No one was really ever close to him. Casper though is going to make up for that this time round. He's going to want to win that championship as now he comes up the hill towards the third sector and the second sector split. We'll see how close he is to Cam around this bend. Here we go. He's 5 up. Casper has a real chance of stealing pole position at the moment with Cam still to run. He's going to get a lovely slipstream off his former team Alpine car ahead. What will it be as he comes round the final corner? It's not been the greatest lap, but is it going to be enough to put him in provisional pole? No, it isn't. It was very close, but it wasn't enough. We'll see what Cam can do. He's improving slightly on his current time of a 2:27.2. What can he do now? I think that was Lewis Craig that retired from the session. I'm not 100% sure there. He's left it too late and didn't get out the pit lane in time. But car number 5 on the Ferrari. We've seen that over the years get pole position and wins. We never seen it win a championship though. Cam is going to look to change that as he comes round the final corner now in the Scuderia. Can he take pole position? No, he doesn't improve, but it is enough. Machine Ireland has just stolen P3 from Phil. Can Phil retake that? He is improving enough at the moment, but he has invalidated that lap. Bevesser, who is, I believe, a reserve driver, he's improving on P6 as Dan Morris with a great qualifying in P6. Viva la Merkel as well. He's sneaking up to the second row of the grid. The McLaren reserve driver doing what he can to try and cement his place for the rest of the season. But Vivesser now in the Williams, down the final straight, round the final corner. Is it going to be enough in the Williams to steal that third row of the grid from Phil and Dan Morris? Will it be enough? It is at the moment. P6, Court Gill, we expect him to be further up the order. This is a bit of a shock. Down in P11, round the final corner, the Red Bull driver goes. And what can he do to try and get close to the likes of Lewis, Dan Morris and Bevesser? It's going to be a 1:28.3, and that is enough for 8th place. And that will round up qualifying unless Machine Ireland or Casper can improve, and no, that is going to be it. That is your order for the first qualifying session in TGP1 this season. We were a bit late on the comms, we had a bit of technical issues with phone calls and getting the full structure going, but we did get the format out of the way. I can run through the teams quickly before we get going on the calendar. Lewis, Craig and Casper, there are your Mercedes pair this season. Red Bull will be Court Gill and Alistair Bain. The Ferraris are going to be Chris Johnson 93 and New Zealand Cam. Nell Jack and Dan the Man are going to run in the Papaya McLarens. Will they be as quick as the guys are in Formula 1 this season? Alpine is going to be Jeaners and Wet Lemons. Aston Martin have a fairly strong lineup in Phil Bardwell and Matt Tibbles, but Matt Tibbles' qualifying is not going to be what they would like. They would want him a lot higher up the pecking field. Haas, though, they've got Dan Morris, who's impressed as tonight. He's in P7, as you see on your screen. A very impressive qualifying from one of the Haas drivers. Aidan Griffins is going to join him in the other Haas. And before we run through the rest of the teams, we'll run through quali quickly. Cam and Casper, they're their front row. 1/10 gap separating. Viva La Merkel, the other Finnish driver in P3. Machine Ireland and Phil Bardge will take 4th and 5th. Bavesson and Dan Morris, they're 6th and 7th, with Court Gill and Arthur in 8th and 9th. Lewis Craig runs out the top 10. He'll be happy with that, beating his rival Dom Smith in 11th. Jovial Manny and Wet Lemons are 12th and 13th. Matt Tibbles and Neiljack 14th and 15th. Aiden and Waze won't be happy with 16th and 17th. And Mr. Giapelli is down in 18th place. He'll be wanting to improve on that position. My fellow commentator, Mr. Giapelli, in the Williams, will be hoping he can get a better result than that in the race. Kicksauber, their Machine Fishy and Waze and V-Car, but they've been called in the group chat, but I believe it's Visa Cash App. That's going to be Jovial Manny and Dom Smith, with Williams being Kieran F1 and Mr. Giapelli. Now, the boys are just getting ready. Final preparations in order before we go racing under the lights in Bahrain for the first time on F1 24. We've got 20 races this season. Tonight is Bahrain. It's 35%. There is a safety car if needed before we head over to Saudi Arabia in Jeddah. That's going to be one-shot quali. No mistakes can be afforded there. It's a 25% race, so only going to be 13 laps. And for the sake of my voice, there's going to be no safety car in Jeddah, so I'm very thankful to the drivers and the organisers to be calling that. That is always good news. And we've got some boys in the comments. Welcome, Stereogram and co. The boys getting ready. Let us know your podium predictions before we get going. New Zealand Cam on pole position in the Scuderia. The last time that man was in the Scuderia, he was TGP1 champion. Can he do it again? He's got the likes of VRT Casper hot on his heels, though. Casper showed us last season he's prepared to fight with the best of the best. But we're on the grid. The lights are flashing. Under the lights in Bahrain, we have 5 lights, and we're underway again on F1 24. And Machine Ireland has had a great start off the grid, but so Casper's down the order, and Viva La Merkel going to try as well. They're going to be 4 wide into turn number 1, and Cam's almost round, but they're 3 wide at the back. Machine Ireland's had a great start. He's into P2, and he's going to try challenge for the lead of the Grand Prix. Casper is way down the order in last place. And look at the guys fighting. Machine Ireland, what a start from the Kicksauber man. Can he challenge New Zealand Cam later on in the lap as you see the pit strategies coming below the grid? Viva La Merkel's managed to hold on to his 3rd place, which is all McLaren needed him to do. And Arthur and Court Gill are up the order as well in 6th and 7th. And the race will finally calm down as we get through lap number 1. And ERT Casper is last place. That's a devastating opening lap for him. Bavesson and Phil are scrapping through turn 10, and Bavesson in the Williams manages to hold on for now. But the veteran of TGP1, Phil, is going to be wanting a piece of P4 so he can keep his eyes on that McLaren and steal the podium away as we finally, everyone kind of follows that train line order as New Zealand Cam manages to hold on. He almost lost it on the turn 1 exit as he's on the hard tyres, and he's going to lose the lead of the Grand Prix because Machine Ireland, who started in P4, leads the Bahrain Grand Prix, car number 66. Who would have thought we'd be saying that at the end of lap 1? And New Zealand Cam is in danger of losing more positions here. Viva La Merkel is right on his chaff, and the McLaren driver is wanting P2 to try and challenge for the lead of the Grand Prix, and it's not going to happen into turn number 1. Jovial Manny and Dan Morris fighting as well for 8th and 9th. and it's going to be Jovial Mani that manages to hang on. They're still side by side, and Jovial Mani gets round the outside of the harsh driver. I see him further up as well. Bevesser trying to make a move on Viva La Merkel. They're down the inside, he goes with the Williams. And Carmen and Machine Island have touched! And Machine Island's in the wall. Will we have a safety car? And that's not the start to the season. Machine Island and New Zealand. Cam would have won it. Cam's dropped down the order. And who would have thought on lap 2 of opening night that Viva La Merkel, Bevesser and Phil Barswell would be your top 3, and they're out of DRS of Arthur in P4. Arthur, I believe this is his debut race in TGP1, if I'm not mistaken. He is in P4. That's a great start for him. Can he keep the pace going now? Jovial Mani, he's on the back of New Zealand Cam now. Cam, I do believe, has some damage on the front wing of that Ferrari. It's not been a good opening night for him so far. We will get the tyres up. We will see what everyone is running. The top 3 all on the soft compound. Then it is Arthur on the mediums with Court Gill on the softs. Cam is on the hards, and that is devastating for Cam because he is going to be needing to box for a new wing. We'll have a look further forward though, as Phil now is on the back of Bevesser, who's on the back of Viva La Merkel for the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Into turn number 1 we'll go again. It is Bevesser down the inside. The Williams driver goes, and it's a new race leader once more. And Phil's going to try and get action. And no, Bevesser's lost it. And now Viva La Merkel leads, and we could have Phil leading the opening race in TGP1 in season 42. The Aston Martin down the inside he goes, but Viva La Merkel hangs around the outside, but it's not enough. Phil is still there, hanging on to his lead, and he regains the lead. Phil Barswell on opening night is in P1, but Viva La Merkel is doing everything he can to try and hold on to the position, but it's just not enough. And Phil Barswell leads the round in Bahrain in lap 3, and we can finally catch a break before Court Gill, who's on the back of Arthur. Can he get close? He's on the softs compared to Arthur's mediums. Should allow him at this phase of the Grand Prix to get ahead before the softs go off. They do run out very quickly here. It's a 35% race. We've got 17 laps to go, and Phil Barswell leads. ERT Casper, he's up into P14 after starting second. He had a crash on the opening lap. He's down in P14. It's not a good opening night for him so far, as the boys starting to follow each other in that train-like order, in the DRS train, which obviously was enabled on lap number 1. It's not lap number 2 like it has been in previous seasons, but we get going again. Viva La Merkel now, as you see the beautiful shot, and we see Lewis Craig in the background going to try make a move on Dom Smith, but the action's further ahead. It's Court Gill round the outside of Arthur if he can get the move done. Arthur says nope, I'm going to hold on to that. Thank you very much. Lewis Craig in the Mercedes wasn't able to get past a familiar foe in Dom Smith, but he's going to try this time round, as Dom Smith is actually thinking, nope, I'll get past Dan Morris and leave Lewis in the wind, and that's what he's doing. But Lewis Craig says thank you very much and sneaks up the inside, and Dom and Lewis follow sweet and move up into 8th and 9th. They're now chasing New Zealand Cam, who seems to have settled down now that he's gotten used to the wing. The end plate on that front wing being taken off. Casper has passed Aidan Griffins further back, but the race at the front has seemed to have settled down here on lap number 4. There's more of the guys further back that are challenging each other. Jovial Mani, he's the closest man on track to making a move. Cam just behind him, kind of pushing him through the second sector, trying to say, get a move on, I crashed, I want to get back onto the podium hunt. But it's not going New Zealand's Cam way at the moment. Court Gill, he seems to be stuck behind the Alpine of Arthur. Surely this time round he'll be able to get past. But the action's in P1. It's Phil, Viva La Merkel and Bevesser for the lead of the Bahrain Grand Prix. We go again for the 4th time. DRS open on the McLaren, but he's not looking ahead, he's looking behind, because Bevesser in the Williams is thinking of doing an Albon and showing up everyone else on the grid, just like he has, and he's into P2, and Viva La Merkel had absolutely nothing to defend with, and I believe Court Gill now is finally past Arthur, and Jovial Mani has managed to hang on to his P6 for now by Cam. He's looking down the inside of Arthur, and it's not going to be enough as Cam around the outside goes the Ferrari. He keeps it between the white lines, but but keeping it between the white lines doesn't give him enough speed, and that means he has to hang on in P7 for now. There is some action further back between Neljak and Whitlam's actually pitting early. He's in the box at the moment. Maybe some damage. That's a very early pit stop. The soft should last a bit longer than that. As you see, Court Gill, he finally did get past Arthur, but he's not pulled away as much as he would have liked. No DRS. He's 2.4 seconds back on the McLaren ahead. He really needs to break this train while he has the chance. Matt Tibos, who we said earlier on in the night didn't have a great qualifying on the medium compound tyres, does get past Dan Morris, who's just fallen backwards, but we don't expect him to challenge the likes of Lewis Craig and Dom Smith and Cam. He needs to get going again. Does the harsh driver Arthur now, who didn't look like he had the pace to keep up with these guys, is coming back at Court Gill in the Red Bull. Court Gill had a very impressive season. Practically in the first half of the season, you'd have to say, last time round on F123. Looking impressive again, but Jovial Mani and Arthur are going to look to try and make moves on him. Jovial Mani gets past Arthur. Can he get past Court Gill? He does. Court Gill going to try hang it around the outside of Arthur to hold on to at least 5th, and he does so. Cam stuck in 7th, just having to watch this battle. He is not enjoying it one bit tonight on opening night, as we have Dan Morris in the wall in the back. He's managed to hold on to his wheels, so he's not going to have to retire the car, and Dom Smith and Lewis Craig are right on the back now of New Zealand Cam in this battle. This battle for 4th is spicing up, and the Visa Cash App and the Mercedes of Dom Smith and Lewis Craig are looking for a slice of the pie. But Viva America, he's managed to hold on to Professor. Can he hold on to his hopes of winning the opening race in TGP1 tonight? I do believe that 2nd and 3rd are reserve drivers, so they're throwing their hats for that spare seat that is available at the moment, as we've only got 19 boys in the division racing tonight. Phil Bargewell, though, he's doing what he needs to do. He's controlled the race since taking a lead on lap 2. He's done what he needs to do. Car number 88, he's taken over from Softy in the Aston Martin. Will he be as dominant as Softy? You wouldn't expect so, but he's getting off to the right start. The Drivers' Champion car, the World Constructors' Champion car, the Aston Martins, as Dom Smith has now passed New Zealand Cam in the background. Lewis Craig will get past as Cam. Getting passed by Dom Smith has decided that's embarrassing enough. I'm pitting for a new wing and some new tyres. That'll be mediums for Cam. He's got 14 laps to go in this Grand Prix. It's too early to move on to the softs. The front, though, they've seemed to settle. They're about 4 tenths behind each other each, as Lewis Craig picks up the first time penalty of the season. Not what he would be looking for in his battle with Dom Smith, as those guys are very fairly matched in pace, and come the end of the Grand Prix, Dom Smith, if he can keep it between the white lines, you'd imagine will get the better of his rival in Lewis Craig. But Court Gill now behind Jovial Mani. Can he keep up with Jovial Mani and get back past in the Visa Cash App, or will Jovial Mani try hold these guys up and allow Dom Smith to get past the likes of Arthur and Court Gill? It's a bit early in the season for some team antics at the moment, but you never know in TGP1. Bevesser now in the Williams. He's saving that battery, as you see in the flashing Christmas tree-like lights on the rear wing of that Williams track car. He's impressed me tonight. I'm not sure I've commentated on one of his races before. I believe this is a first for me and himself, and I believe it'll be a first if he can get back in the lead of the Grand Prix and win TGP1 on opening night in the Williams. He's now close enough for DRS, but Phil calls it. Phil's in the pits, so that allows Bevesser to lead the Grand Prix. He'll have DRS, so he's not too much in danger of the likes of Evil America behind. And oh, it's a 10-second time penalty for Lewis Craig. 13 seconds. His opening race was looking good, but in this lap, on lap 8, he's absolutely destroyed it, and that could be his race and a chance at points tonight in Bahrain over for the Scotsman, the former TGP2 Drivers' Champion. But the likes of the people that won't care about that, Dom Smith, who also boxed, didn't pick up any penalties. Cam, who boxed, didn't pick up any penalties. Obviously did crash, but didn't pick up any penalties. Machine Ireland, he's in the pits after crashing as well. He was taken out by Cam. We're going to reserve the stewards report till after the Grand Prix, though. But these guys battle for podium at the moment on merit because Phil Bardwell, who's down in P11, has stopped. He was in the lead of the Grand Prix. He's done the undercut. You'd imagine that the top two are now going to box just to cover off Phil, keep at least within that second of Phil if they can. We have a yellow flag in Sector 1. I believe it's Mr. Giapelli. I'm not too sure on that though. As we see the dot, it looks like a Mr. Giapelli coloured dot. But now these guys have been racing fairly well. They've not been able to keep up with the likes of Viva La Miracle and Bevesser. Will we see them peel into the pits this time around? Bevesser is in. Viva La Miracle does the opposite. So that was obviously a strategy call from the McLarens. Do what he doesn't. Jovial Mani, he's in the pits. Court Gill in the pits. And so is Arthur. So everyone now boxing. Casper, I do believe, started on the hard compounded tyres. Yeah, he did. So did Matt Tibbles. He's on the medium. So these guys are going longer in the stint to try and get on those soft tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix. Casper in P2 had a bad start. He was down in 4th place. And then just, I'm not sure what happened afterwards. He seems to have just fallen all the way to the back. He's worked his way back up pretty well. But he just needs to keep going and try to score some good points for Mercedes tonight. As it doesn't look like Lewis Craig's going to be able to manage to score much. He is right on the back of Arthur. He's got him past Dom Smith. I don't think Dom Smith will fight that too much. It's 13 seconds. Lewis is a very quick driver. Dom Smith is a very good driver, but 13 seconds between the pair with 11, 12 laps to go is a very big ask for the Scotsman. Arthur, though, in the Alpine, he doesn't give a rat's monkeys about the Scotsman. He's worried about the Dutchman in the Red Bull. And it's not the Dutchman you'd think it would be. It's Court Gill. The man currently in P9. He had a very impressive season last season. Can he get close? Nope. And he's got to watch out in his rear mirrors because Lewis Craig, with that 13-second time penalty, is going to want to make a move. And Cam on Dom Smith now. Round the outside goes Cam, who's got no damage. Fresh rubber. Dom Smith didn't stand a chance around turn 10. And New Zealand Cam, the former TGP1 champion, moves up into P12. Dom Smith, TGP2 champion in his own right. I believe he's a 4-time TGP2 champion in his own right. As Court Gill gets passed by Arthur and Lewis Craig and now New Zealand Cam. And New Zealand Cam round the outside of Lewis Craig says thank you very much. And Cam is now up into P10. But Lewis Craig's having none of it and he's back ahead of the Ferrari driver. And what can he do now as the Ferrari driver goes wide off the track, and that will allow Court Gill to maybe have a go at him into the straight. And Jovial Mani as well, he's back ahead of Arthur. There's so much action happening in this pack of cars, I can't keep up. Jovial Mani will watch the guys leading the pack, is passed by Arthur. Lewis Craig holds on from Cam for now at the moment. Mercedes versus Ferrari. Lewis Craig, look how defensive he's going. He's all the way over on the right hand side to defend from the Ferrari, but it's still not enough. He defended that with a passion there, and now the Red Bull is going to have to defend from the Ferrari as we can finally settle down and catch our breath a wee bit for the moment. As these guys, the battle for P4, when the pit stops are all said and done, maybe not the battle for P4 on the road at the moment, but Viva La Miracle, he is your current race leader. He's led since lap number 8 when Phil Bardwell came into the pits. Phil, he's in P5. He will retake the lead of the Grand Prix. Viva La Miracle, he was a second back on Phil when Phil boxed. So he's going to be around 2-3 seconds back now. And Jovial, they've got a big gap. They're 8 seconds ahead of Jovial Mani and Co for the battle for 4th. The podium looks pretty secure. But the longer Viva La Miracle leaves this, he's going to run the risk of being so far back that it's only going to be 3rd as his option. There won't be enough laps. It will be fresh rubber, but there won't be enough laps to recatch it. So the longer Viva La Miracle leaves it, and you can see him turning turn 4 now, it's going to cost him in the long run. Now, here comes Arthur on the back, and actually there's a lead position change for the net lead of the Grand Prix. Bevesser is round Phil. It's mediums versus hards. Has Phil stopped too early and compromised himself on the slower compounded tyre as Bevesser in the Williams takes the net lead of the TGP Bahrain Grand Prix. Now that has thrown a spanner into the works. Did we think on opening night that Bevesser would be taking the lead of the Grand Prix? Did we think that he'd be taking the lead from Phil? This is what it's all about. It's these two guys for the win at the moment. Viva La Miracle is currently the race leader, but he's still got a box. And Casper, who's just pit, has had some great pace because he's come out ahead of Court, Dom and Lewis, and he's behind Jovial Mani. And he's not too far behind Cam, so if he can clear this traffic pretty quickly, like he's about to do to Jovial Mani in the Visa RB, he really has a chance at P4. And the longer Viva La Miracle stays out, he really has a chance at that final step of the podium, as Viva La Miracle finally calls it a day on those hard compounded tyres and boxes. But it's all about Cam and Casper. What can they do to challenge for the podium? As we see Professor and Phil right on the back of Aidan Griffins, which is going to give the Williams a lovely helping of DRS, an extra 18 kilometres an hour down the straight as the DRS is open, and Phil is going to have absolutely no chance of getting him down the start-finish straight. Can he get him into turn number 4? You would like to think he could, as Viva La Miracle comes out around about 2 seconds adrift of this battle for the lead of the Grand Prix. He has kind of kept his tyres in good shape. He's gone 4 laps longer than Phil, so his tyres come the end of the Grand Prix. That gap, that is actually about 1.6 seconds. He should be able to catch that. As Arthur now is just overtaking Cam, and Casper is going to want to try and overtake Cam as well. On the soft compounded tyres is Casper. Down the inside the Mercedes driver goes. He sets a purple sector 1, and it's P7, and it's going to be P6. A late move down the inside. You love to see it when it's clean. And Casper now leads this pack, and it's going to be around about P4 when the pit stops shake up towards the end. And Cam and Arthur have had a wee bit of contact, and I do believe Cam might need to cede the position there, as there is yellow flags. They're still battling, up the hill they go, and Cam retakes 7th position. Machine Ireland, he started on the front row of the grid. It's not been his night. He's down in P4, and he had contact with the Ferrari driver of Cam on lap 2. Cost him the chance at the win, but someone that's not going to miss a chance at the win is Phil Bardwell. He moves to the right hand side, and he moves back over to the braking line, and he is into P1. We have another race leader. That is about the 5th time I've said that this Grand Prix has been absolutely phenomenal. It's not like this every Formula 1 Grand Prix, so enjoy it, ladies and gentlemen, while it lasts. As Professor back down the inside goes the Williams driver. He's going to force the Aston Martin wide, who has to try and do the switchback, but he's not got enough grip on those hard tyres, and Professor in the Williams takes the lead once more, and Phil is going to have to rethink his strategy of overtaking into turn number 1, because look in the background, Viva La Miracle in the McLaren P3 on the freshest tyres available to him, which are the mediums. He's got a real chance of winning this Grand Prix, and there'll be no papaya rules for these two guys ahead. And here comes Phil now, rethinking his overtaking strategy, trying to get as close as he can into turns 11, into 12 and 13 up the hill before the DRS detection zone. Can the Aston hold on? He obviously wants to overtake Professor as quick as he can, but he knows if he overtakes him into turn 1, he's just a sitting duck for turn 4. So, what will happen this time round as we begin lap 14, when we come round this final corner? The guys are so close you could cover them with a blanket, but it's not about blankets, it's about the Aston Martin getting past the Williams. He moves to the right hand side, and it should be a slam dunk into turn 1. The real question is it going to be a slam dunk for Professor into turn 4? He gets the better exit, he gets the better traction. What's it going to be for the Williams driver into turn 4? He's not got enough in the car, as we see Jovial Mani, Dom Smith and Court all scrapping further back. Cam as well scrapping. He takes Arthur's P5. Lewis Craig in the action as well to try and take his position from Dom Smith, even though he's got about half of the bloody race in penalties coming his way come the end of the Grand Prix. But Viva La Miracle now on fresh mediums. They're 2 laps better than Professor's. They're 4 laps better than Phil's. He's got plenty of time to get that grip in the perfect window, and you can see Casper, who had a disaster on lap 1, is slowly edging closer to the back of this pack and getting in towards that battle for the final step on the podium. The gap currently now is 3.2, and if there was a man that could close that gap, it would be Casper, but Bevesser's had a bit of a moment out the penultimate corner. Viva la Miracle breaking the slipstream now to try and get a good toe. It's not worked into the final corner. Will it work into turn number 1? As my thumbstick's having a disaster. Casper in the background has closed that gap by 0.5 of a second, which is about the gap between the top 3. Into turn number 1 they go. It's not enough. They can't make a move at the moment. Will they be able to make a move in turn number 4 as Arthur has passed Cam? And as much as we'd love to watch that action in the background, it's about the win of the Grand Prix, and that's what we need to be focusing on. But no one can make the move as Cam now is in the grass. We've missed sitting on the cameras there, and he's down out of the points. Well, he's just holding on P11, which is basically P10, so he needs to get back amongst things to try and score some decent points tonight. But this battle for the top spot in the race has been absolutely magnificent. Since lap 1, we had Casper involved, we had Cam involved, we had Machine Ireland involved, we've had the front 3 involved, as Matt Tibos, who's recovering from P14 starting position, has just passed Tom Smith for P8. Lewis Craig seems to have an off somewhere. He's dropped behind Casper, unless maybe just moved out of his way to the Mercedes. And Matt Tibos has actually now passed Court Gill, so this has been a great race from Matt. He's now moved from 14th to P7, so it's some good points for the former 2-time TGP1 champion. But there's 3 men that have never been TGP1 champion that are all fighting for the win of the Grand Prix, and Bevesser's gone deep into the final corner, and Viva la Miracle says, thank you very much, pal, I'll take P2, my fresh rubber, I'm going to challenge Phil and try and win this Grand Prix. And he's not wasting any time, because Phil into the first turn has to go defensive. Can he hold on? No, he can't. He's vulnerable into turn 1. He's been squeezed onto the curb, and the McLaren on the fresh rubber not got enough grip at the moment. He's not got the best line, and Phil managing to hold on. Will the mediums have the grip though round the outside? No, they will not. Phil at the moment defends his position and is holding on for what he hopes will be first of many victories this season. I do believe Phil is one of the few men that has podiums in like 16 of the last 17 TGP1 seasons, which is absolutely phenomenal. But he's not worried about a podium tonight. He's worried about the victory, and that is all Aston Martin are focusing on the pit wall, throwing all the cheers they can and all the support they can over the radio to Phil to try and force the Englishman on, as they know that the Mercedes of Casper behind with 5 laps, well, 4 and a bit to go. He's wanting a bit of the action as well. He's within DRS now. This is slowly becoming a 4-way battle for the win in Bahrain, and Phil is looking the most vulnerable as we get lap 17 underway in the next couple of moments. Viva la Miracle just letting Phil know he's there, letting him have a wee look of the front wing of the McLaren. But the McLaren isn't going to be trying to make a move into the final corner. He's going to try and make a move into turn number 1 and hope to defend into turn number 4. We have a new race leader once more for about the 12th time this Grand Prix. And oh, he's spun and he's hit Phil, and Phil's got damage. It's a disaster for the Aston and the McLaren. Bevesser now is going to try and get Phil for the lead of the Grand Prix. Phil's going to be absolutely gutted. Well, it looked like Phil got damaged, but his front wing looks okay. That is good news for the likes of Aston. If you are a fellow Aston Martin follower, he seems to be okay on the damage front. But Viva la Miracle isn't. He's going to have to hold on for 4th now. He's cost himself a chance at the win here by getting too aggressive on the throttle pedal, and that's how quickly your race can change. He's driven 16 exceptional laps, and it takes 1 lap's adjustment to cost him a chance at the win. But someone that has recovered from his mistake is Casper. He's in P3 on the podium after being last place at the end of lap 1. What can he do now to try and force his way to win the Grand Prix? Phil now does have a buffer of 0.6 of a second. That's exactly what the Aston needs. He needs to keep putting the pressure on the guys behind, and Casper needs to get a move done if he's going to try and win the Grand Prix. But he's actually under pressure. Viva la Miracle holding on for now. I do believe Viva la Miracle has some damage though, so it's going to be a big ask for him to try and win the Grand Prix. Casper, though, in the Mercedes, doing what he can to show his team what he's made of. In the Alpine last season, he was given the chance at a big team like Mercedes, multiple championships in the drivers and the constructors. He's wanting to show them what they got. His teammate down in P15, not scoring. He needs to do it for the team, get the constructors some solid points in round 1 as Jovial Mani has passed Arthur for P5. We've just missed that as Arthur's going to try and battle it back, but it's not enough. Two guys on the hard tyres. Jovial Mani showing his experience there and managing to get back up into P5. It's been a good race from Jovial Mani and the RBs actually. I've been very impressed as Bevesser has been passed by Casper, and Casper's gone deep and he's off into the runway, and that is going to cost him P2 for now, and it might cost him a step on the podium for now. Will that rubber ruin his tyres? They're now out of the DRS of Phil Bardswell. Phil Bardswell has really got a chance with 2 and a bit laps to go to win the Bahrain Grand Prix, and Casper's lost it again, and he's now behind Viva La Merkel and might not even have a chance at the podium. Matt Tibbles, by the way, passed Court Gill further back for P7, retaking that position and scoring some valuable points. I believe it's 8 points or 9 points you do score for 7th in TGP1. Viva La Merkel had the accident a couple of laps ago. He's back up into P2. He'll be happy with that as Casper trying to get back up into P3, and the podium is changing again as Casper goes deep into turn 1, and with no end plate on that wing, Viva La Merkel doesn't really have much to defend with. And on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, Phil is now 1.5 adrift of the chasing pack. Arthur now, he's ahead of Jovial Mani. Can he hold on? You'd imagine he'd be able to for this moment in time. Matt Tibbles, he's got to hold on from Court Gill, 2 great veterans of the sport, battling it back. 2 former TGP1 champions, TGP2 champions though. Dom Smith trying to close the battle on Court Gill. Dom Smith could end up with a 7th place here, and I tell you what, if it's a 6th and 7th for the likes of Visa RB, that would be probably the best team performance in this Grand Prix at the moment. Casper slowly but surely closing that gap with a lap remaining. Viva La Merkel and Bevesser have fallen away in the closing stages of this Grand Prix, but with 1.3 seconds, with 1 and a straight of a lap remaining, Phil Bardswell is in control and is doing everything he can in his power to win the Bahrain Grand Prix. He's not going to have DRS. He's 1.5 ahead of Casper as Phil starts the final lap of opening night in TGP1 Season 42. We started this league back on F1 2010. We didn't think it would last until 2024. It's been magical, and once more we've had another magical race as Viva La Merkel and Casper in the background battling. Viva La Merkel does take P2. So the spots aren't they're not set yet. Phil is looking like he's going to win, but Jovial Mani and Arthur are still scrapping. Dom Smith is still scrapping. These guys aren't giving up without a fight, and there is yellow flags further back, but I just believe it is one of the guys at the back. But you have to say, no matter what happens now, come the end of the Grand Prix, it doesn't really matter what happens, because it's all about this man on the hard tyres. He boxed early, he kept it clean. We did question if it was too early by Aston, but should we have? They're the Constructors' Champions last season. They won the Drivers' Championship last season, and they're showing what they want to do this season with the driver Phil Bardswell, the veteran who had so many battles with the likes of Lewis Craig and Dom Smith last season. Wasn't the season he wanted last season, but it's all gone off to a great start this time round as he comes round the final corner and the fireworks are being prepared. Phil Bardswell wins in Bahrain on opening night, and Casper gets on the podium along with Viva La Merkel. Bevesser with a great race as well in P4. Jovial Mani and Arthur had a ding-dong battle, but it's Jovial Mani that comes out on top. Matt Tibbles recovered massively to keep P7. Core and Dom Smith had a great night in 8th and 9th, and Cam, starting on pole, will be very disappointed with P10. Sheck Waste And Machine Ireland picking up some solid points for kick. Aidan Griffiths picks up a point in P13. But Chris Johnson, he'll pick up the last point of the night in round 1 in P14 as we wait for the rest of the drivers to finish. But Phil Bardwell, take a bow. What a Grand Prix. He'd driven from lap 1 to lap 20 perfectly. He got in the lead. He defended it when he needed to. He re-overtook drivers when he needed to. He boxed before anyone else. He didn't let anyone undercut him. And he just controlled the race from then on. He did win by 3 seconds. It did look in danger at times, but as we got to the end, the final moments in the stints, it was the experienced driver of Phil that managed to eke out an advantage on his closest challengers. We're only waiting for wet lemons now, coming round the final couple of corners. And well, if you asked me to stick a bet on betnoon.com, I would have lost my mortgage, because Phil winning the opening race wouldn't have been on my bingo card tonight. But congratulations to Phil. I do believe he has made it now. Dom will need to correct me. I think it's like 17 podiums or wins in the last 18 TGP1 seasons. We'll get Dom Smith to confirm that. But the podium, well, if you said to me last season I'd be happy about an Aston Martin being on the podium, I would have called you crazy. I'm sick of seeing that racing suit. But Phil, congratulations, he deserved it. Casper on the podium again, showing that he is here for the challenge. Casper has the pace to win that race. If he doesn't make the mistake on lap 1, he has the pace to win. Viva La Merkel, that pace that he had in Portimao last season in Portugal, where he qualified 3rd, he finished on the podium. We didn't expect it then, we didn't expect it tonight, but he keeps proving us wrong. When are we going to start expecting it from these guys, that anyone can win in TGP1? No one is an outright winner here except the soft cop. Everyone else is so close. And we'll run through that order one more time before I run out of time. It's Phil wins the Grand Prix. Casper and Viva La Merkel take the podium. Bevesser and Jovial Manti get 4th and 5th. Great points for Arthur. Matt Tibos and Court Gill 7th and 8th. Dom Smith and Cameron out the top 10. Sheck Waste, Machine Ireland, Lewis Craig 13th to 14th. Chris Johnson, Dan Morris and Lewis Craig 15th and 16th. And I believe it was Mr. Giapelli and Wet Lemons that came 18th and 19th. I'm not sure which order they came in, but what an opening night, what an opening race. And just like it was last season, non-stop action. It's one-shot quali in Jeddah. It's going to be 13 laps around the great circuit that everyone loves driving. It's not very great for the races, the safety cars. There's no safety cars though. It's only a 25% race. We're going to go and watch one of the boys on their lap in one-shot quali. We're going to go on board with the one that got pole position in Bahrain, and that was New Zealand Cam in the Scuderia Ferrari, former champion, former multiple race winners, obviously, if he's the champion. We won't put the pressure on Phil. He got his win, so we'll keep the pressure off him. Lewis Craig in the chat with some complaints about Bahrain. Nothing new there from the Scotsman. What can you do? You can only drive the track that's in front of you. And, well, we know how quick you are around Saudi Arabia, Lewis, so we're expecting big things to recover from that. Machine Fishy letting his thoughts as well about Bahrain known. But what can you say, guys? When you don't like the track, get it out the way. We've got plenty more to come. Now, we do have a wee break, so I'm going to run through the calendar. It's pretty similar to the real F1 calendar. We've just had Bahrain. We're going into Saudi Arabia. Next week, I will be in the com box again. We're going to Australia and Japan. The week after, we're going to China and Imola. Hopefully there'll be no flooding, as we want to race at Imola, one of my best tracks and one of my favourite tracks to commentate on. Monaco and Canada are the next couple of rounds, and then we go to the final rounds of the first stint of the season before the week break. It's Spain and Austria. So that's before the break, and then we head to Silverstone and Spa. Then it's followed by Zandvoort and Monza. What a night that is going to be, ladies and gentlemen. Silverstone, Spa, Monza and Zandvoort. That 2 weeks is going to be phenomenal. We're going to be followed by Baku and Kota, then Brazil and Las Vegas. Las Vegas, obviously, very a great circuit and a great memory for our former champion New Zealand Cam. Obviously won the championship there. Mike Noon was that lap. If you've not seen that lap of commentary where Cam won the championship, please go watch it when Cam won the title. It was absolutely magnificent. Then we go to the final round where it's Qatar and Abu Dhabi, and I'm going to be commentating every round this season. I hope the championship goes to Abu Dhabi. Obviously, it would be magnificent if we can get it that far. In recent years, it's not gone to the final race, but this season, I just couldn't tell you who I think is going to win. Phil Bargeville wins opening night. If you're going to stick money on someone winning the championship, have a risk on Phil. Let's see if he can win in Jeddah with one shot qualifying coming up. It's nice to see the drivers in the chat letting us know their thoughts on Bahrain and Saudi Arabia coming up. Obviously, we'd expect the weather to be pretty solid. It's going to be dry, unless there's a rainstorm out of nowhere. And because I've said it's going to be dry, it's probably going to be wet. But 19 drivers on the grid tonight. It's a very good turnout, actually. TGP1 is very good at getting 20 boys on the grid, but this game, I think, has let a lot of people down, and I don't think the drivers would disagree with that. And I think to have 19 boys on the grid tonight is absolutely magnificent, and it's well done to Dom for managing to get that going. Just a quick warning for me, as there's 14 boys on the stream. Make sure you whack your setups on before we get going. We don't want any correlation issues, as my fellow Scotsman Aidan Griffiths likes to point out all the time. We don't want any correlation issues where you're stuck running dodgy wings. But we're getting going in 20 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to see you in 20 seconds when we get going. And we're going to be watching New Zealand Calm to see what he can do. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're underway. It's going to take me a bit of time to find New Zealand Calm, because clearly it's not what this game wants me to do, as I've lost him again. Finally find him. As we start qualifying now, what can the Dutchman do in the Ferrari? He got pole position last time round in Bahrain. He's going to want to make it 2 from 2 as the former one-time TGP1 champion. Car number 5 in the Scuderia. That horrible HP logo everywhere needs to be removed at some point when they lose the sponsorship. But he's not looking good for pole position through Sector 1. It is only B7 and Casper and Dan Morris in the top 2. What an opening night it could be for Dan if he can sneak a front row of the grid in Jeddah. Calm though, this is what he needs to do. He needs to keep it between the white lines. It's P8. We've put the pressure on him. He's got pole multiple times before. And there's the invalidation. And the Ferraris are having a disaster in Jeddah. They're 18th and 19th. And the Mercedes of Casper that missed out on pole because of Calm should surely take pole now as he comes through turns 11 and 12. The place where the Red Bulls were cutting the corners, but I won't be a spiteful man who likes Lewis Hamilton. We'll ignore that. Casper, though, looking like it's going to be pole position, and Dan Morris is going to be on the front row with him. What a lap this would be from the Haas driver. The two on the front row of the grid are showing up their teammates in 11th and 15th. Casper takes pole, and Dan Morris in P2. What a lap by Dan Morris. Congratulations to my familiar rival in TGP2. Just shows you the pace that he has. Absolutely magic from Dan Morris there. So, Casper takes pole position. No bonus points in TGP1, it's just pole. 3 Irishmen in a row, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. It's Dan Morris, Joe Vitamani and Machine Ireland. 3 British drivers as well follow that. It's Phil, Dom Smith and Arthur. Good lap from Dom Smith there, I didn't notice that. We're not sure where Matt Tibbles is from. Apparently he's from everywhere. So he is in 8th. Professor and Court Gill round out the top 10. Wet Lemons and Lewis Craig 11th and 12th. Mr. Giapelli, Viva La Merco and Sheck Wace 13th to 15th. Aidan in 16th. Chris, Neljak and Cam 17th, 18th and 19th. And it was New Zealand Cam, the only man that couldn't get a lap in. So, the drivers are getting ready. They're going to wash their hands on the towels that they've got to stop the sweat. They're going to think quickly on a strategy. Are they going to do the alternate strategy, go mediums to softs? Are they going to go softs to mediums? That's the only strategy we're going to see tonight, unless people crash and get damage. It's a dry race, obviously, and the only thing that is going to affect this with no safety car. We didn't have a safety car in Bahrain. I'm thankful. We won't have a safety car in Jeddah because it's turned off because it's only 13 laps of racing. But Dan Morris, P2 on the grid. What a opening lap that was in one-shot qualifying. And one-shot qualifying could be somewhere where a man like a Dan Morris or a Dom Smith can sneak a podium or a win. We're on the grid. We've got lights. Under the lights in Jeddah is 5 lights in Saudi Arabia. And we're underway. Casper gets a better start than he did last time round. But Dan Morris is going to try hold on to P2, which he does. And what can Gioviolani do? He's got Phil, who won last time out. His round is outside to try and sneak onto the podium, but it's not going to be enough. The guys further behind, all battling, but they're going to be laying astern into the first sector. And we'll watch the boys go through as Lewis Craig has dropped down some positions. Mr. Giapelli has dropped down some positions as well, and the Williams, not a great opening lap for them. Machine Ireland has flown up the grid. I swear he was starting about 10th. He's all the way up to 7th on lap 1. As you see the strategies coming up on the screen there, it won't make much of a difference. Matt Tibos is trying to make a move to hold on to his place from White Lemons for P8, and he does hold on. Dom Smith is behind Arthur. He qualified 6th, Tom. He's starting 6th. He wants to get past his fellow British driver and get on to P5 to score multiple points, double-digit points tonight. And look at Machine Ireland, he's wanting a bit of the action. Dom Smith needs to watch his mirrors as Machine Ireland tries to squeeze through, but he's not got enough of road to make the move stick. And Dom Smith placed his car beautifully there. And the Visa RB and the kick, 2 lovely liveries battling. Oh, there's a crash further back. Matt Tibos, I think it was, shut the door on Waze, was it? I'm not quite sure who the second car was. There's going to be no safety car though, because it's only 20 laps, 13 laps, it's 25%. So we get the tyres up on the screen. Casper leads the Grand Prix on lap number 1. He's on mediums. Dan Morris, Gioviolani and Phil and Arthur all on the softs. Machine Ireland on the mediums. Dom Smith on the hards. So maybe a bit of a risk from Dom. Go long, no safety car. Go long, hope others get damage, and you can go on the softs at the end for a quick times as Waze gets past Professor. And this time round, the Kick Cybers are wasting absolutely no time in getting the moves done and moving up the grid to get some valuable points tonight. Dan Morris on the softs, doing what he needed to do. He held on to P2. Can he now challenge ERT Casper and win the Grand Prix? That's what his challenge is. And it's going to be a lot easier said than done from the former TGP2 race winner. He'll be one of, I don't think there's many gentlemen that have won a TGP2 race and a TGP1 race, so he'll be wanting to join that illustrious club if he can tonight, but it's going to be easier said than done. This is the closest battle on track, and I tell you what, with DRS enabled on lap 1, it's allowed him to be right on the chuff of VRT Casper. He's that close to the rear wing in the Mercedes, he might get a $50,000 fine. If he gets any closer, he's moved out to the left-hand side, and Casper knows what he's doing, not defend there. And Dan Morris leads the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. The DRS Open, moves to the right-hand side, gets the move down before the braking zone. And I think Dan's been read like a book there. And that will be a warning for Casper cutting the corner like that. Weiss round the outside of Court Gill, trying to hold on to his position. He didn't go defensive, and that might prove costly because someone like Court Gill's not going to give it up without a fight. And Court Gill holds on as Cam now, who started 19th, up in the P11, a good start from him. He's now got to chase down the park to try and get his way onto that podium. And if there was someone that could, it would be himself. And there has been a crash further forward. Arthur's in the wall with Machine Ireland there. Arthur's had a good night so far until just now. He's got no wing. I wonder if there's going to be a complaint about that later on in the night. And at the front, the boys are tooth and nail battling. It's 2 tenths the gap between Casper and Dan. They seem to be the only 2 that are lagging, so maybe one of them just not got the connection we need for a great view. But this is a great view, as Dan the man has to brake, and that means Gioviolani has to brake, and now Phil's up into 3rd, and Phil now, the lag, sorry, Gioviolani is in 3rd still. My lag is not doing me any favours. I'm not sure if it's mine or if it's the drivers. We've had a wee bit of a moment, but we're still in the order we were before the lag issue. Machine Ireland, he started way down the order. I swear he was like 13th or something like that. He is now up into 5th, and he's right on the back of these guys. And Jovi Amani is no longer on the back of Dan Morris. He's side by side, and into turn 1 they go, and Dan Morris says, no way you're doing that to me. I'm staying P2, and he manages to hold on. Sheck Waste holding on to his position from Cam. He did everything he could to get up into P9, and he's not going to give it up without being absolutely outclassed on the racetrack, and not many can do that to the last ever TGP2 world champion. So then, the race has settled down. I've had a chance to catch my breath. Dom Smith, he's catching 9, except Court Gill's front wing in the next couple of moments, because Court Gill has been super racy. He's on the mediums. Dom's strategy is to keep as close to these guys as he possibly can, and don't battle them and lose time, because he's going to pit late, get on the softs. And Dom, that's not going to help his race. He's gone wide, and that will allow Court Gill to sail through. Not what Dom Smith needed, and he must be feeling the pressure, repping Kimi Raikkonen's number 7. And you can see further back, New Zealand Cam and Sheck Waste are battling for P9. This is for 6 points, ladies and gentlemen. This is important. New Zealand Cam has done what Dom Smith has done, and Sheck Waste is back ahead and into P9. New Zealand Cam now going to have to try and make a move stick, because it's not seemed to have worked for him at the moment. But Vito Lamerico on the podium last time out, he's there as well, wanting a bit of the action. Jovi Amani right on the back now of Dan Morris, makes the move stick. Machine Ireland on the back of Phil Bardwell, going to try and make the move stick as well. He isn't able to. Jovi Amani is. 1.2 is the gap now, but you would imagine that Jovi Amani is someone that has the pace to close that gap down to ERT Casper. If you guys have boxed, Dom in the pits, I think he just wants rid of those hards. And Cam's out! Oh no, it's a disaster for Cam. An absolute nightmare. It was top, I think it was 11th in Bahrain, and he's fallen down the order here in quali, and he's now out of the Grand Prix. Not what he would have wanted in a championship where you would have thought he was the favourite to be champion come the end of the night. End of the season. Court Gill now on Bevesser trying to make the move. Machine Ireland is making the move on Phil though, and those softs seem to be struggling already. Phil then in 5th place, and if you told Phil 5th and 1st, he would have taken that at the start of the night. And as I say, the softs are running out of steam. Jovi Amani is doing the undercut, but he is on the soft, so Casper will have the faster tyres come the end of the race, as Bevessers and Court Gill are still going at it for 5th place. It's now 4th. But guys, all the way order, the races seem to have settled down. The pit stops, this kind of happens around Jeddah, where the race is all action for 5 laps, and then the pits come and you see these gaps where like 1.5, 1.5, 2.2 seem to sort of form, and that's when the race starts to calm down in the second half of the stint. But we're going to have a race-long battle. New Zealand, Jovi Amani is probably going to jump Casper now with the undercut on fresh mediums. Casper's going to have to use those fresh softs in about 2 to 3 laps to his advantage and get back past Dan Morris. He's probably going to have to stop this time round. He won't want to cost himself any more time. Dan Morris has actually had a moment because he's dropped behind Machine Ireland and he was about 1.5 ahead. So he'll not be too happy with that. He's had a moment somewhere. Jovi Amani is on the back of Chris Johnson, looking to make the move on the Scuderia Ferrari driver. And Chris Johnson knows that he's not got much in the tank to fight this battle, especially when they're not in each other's race. We've had our 3rd retirement of the night. Mr. Giappelli is DNF'd after stopping for hard tyres, maybe calling it a day. It's been a rough night for him on opening night. Another man that's been rough for Lewis Craig. It was a bad race, it was a bad quali, and well, it's P8, but guys have pits, so as he comes into the pits, he's going to want to improve on his times and try get into the top 10 and score some solid points to help out his teammate. And his teammate, who doesn't need any help at the moment in the Grand Prix, Casper, is leading by 4 seconds. He is at risk from the undercut to Jovial Manti. We'd imagine he's going to lose the lead of the Grand Prix, come the pit stop phase for himself. But with them fresh softs, and let's say he's just set a purple sector 1. With them fresh softs, he'll want to try and re-overtake Jovial Manti. So the race seems to be in Jovial Manti's hands for the time being. I can see this getting very Leclerc Verstappen 2022 towards the end of this Grand Prix. And Aidan Griffiths is the only man that's got a penalty, which was for track limits. So there's not much that we've got to worry about in case of the win. Sheck Weiss and Matt Tibbles are battling further back. If nothing's happening, we'll watch that, because Lewis Craig's on a bit of the action. Matt Tibbles has got 5-lap old mediums, so he's in danger from these two guys. Weiss and Lewis Craig, TGP2 rivals. These guys have had great battles over the seasons, and I tell you what, it looks like Matt Tibbles is in danger of being passed, and he has been. And now, next up, it is Lewis Craig's turn to try and get the move done. We've had a news report from one of the fellow boys in the chat, Wet Lemons, starting their season. Well, it looked well. He had some good pace, but he DNF'd. He must have hit the wall, or he retired in the pits because it wasn't going his way. But he's saying he never starts the season well. So a disappointing night for Wet Lemons. We have feel for him. Struggled last season as well, but we know the pace Wet Lemons has, and know he can challenge for great points if he can get it to stick between the lines. We hope that TCP2 pace comes back and he can challenge further up the grid. The Alpine driver, hopefully he can get his head down for next week now and get in the practice room and get going for next week. Phil Bardwell, though, he's not worried about next week. He's worried about tonight. He's won a race. He's wanting to win 2. If he is going to win 2, though, he needs to get past Jovial Manti, because Casper, we were saying, is in danger of losing out to Jovial Manti. He's also in danger of losing it to Phil Bardwell here. And Machine Ireland, who's on the softs, going to be asking a lot of those softs to go the distance at good pace. But it's probably the better strategy at this point in time for pace at the moment, before we get to the last couple of laps. But Phil, doing his job. He's in DRS of Jovial Manti. That's all he needs to do. As Casper pits, we will see where he comes out, and I do actually believe he's going to come out around about Machine Ireland, between Machine Ireland and Phil, possibly even Dan Morris and Machine Ireland, that kind of gap. He is leaving the pits now. We will have a look and see where he is as he comes round. Oh, has he done the overcut? He's kept it. Wow, sorry for that, ERT Casper. I thought for sure that those boys were going to be able to undercut you, and Casper's come in and out, and he's got a 1 second lead, so he's going to have led every single moment of this Grand Prix, barring any mistakes. So, that's a great pace and a great race from Casper, and I just have to hold my hands up and apologise for thinking that this race was going to be a bit spicy. Sheck Weiss has been passed by Lewis Craig for P10. That's 4 valuable points that Lewis wants to add to his collection after only finishing P15 in Bahrain. But Sheck Weiss, these two men, former rivals, championship contenders, they ain't going to be giving it up without a fight. They're both saving that DRS. They mainly just want to pull away from Matt Tibbles. They don't want to have to deal with him towards the end of the Grand Prix. And like we said, in the second half of Saudi Arabia, it seems to settle down. There's the yellow flag. Arthur's retired, and that's not what you want to see. Arthur's had a good night in the race 1, and he was having a good night until contact. He's had a major crash there, as you've seen on the screen. That is not a nice crash. No safety car, of course, though, to neutralise the race. And Lewis Craig's gone a bit deep, and that has allowed Sheck Weiss down the inside, and Sheck Weiss round the outside should get the Mercedes driver. He does. Lewis Craig maybe playing a game of chicken, going to try and get the position back on the start-finish straight, and Casper has a penalty. Well. We say we had control of the race, and he's just thrown it in jeopardy. He's now only going to finish on the podium as Lewis Craig moves to the right-hand side. Should get the move done if he can push the Kicksauber driver wide, and that is what he does. And Lewis Craig up into P10. Great driving, but now Phil, who's right on the back of Gioviamani, and Dan Morris, who's right on the back, sorry, not Dan Morris, Machine Iron, who's right in the back of Phil, we could have a three-way lead for the race once more, as I've dropped my notepad with all my notes on the floor, which isn't helpful for us, so I'm just going to have to wing it and go off memory. But someone who's not going off memory is Machine Ireland. He doesn't want to remember the crash that he had with Phil in Spa years ago now that pretty much cost him the championship. I think it was F1 2019 at Spa. He's not thinking about that now. He's thinking about getting past Phil Bargewell for P3 on fresh softs, and that is what he does. And can he get Gioviamani into turn 1? We'd absolutely want to see it if he can. Will this throw up a spanner into the works in Casper's win? Casper sets the fastest lap of the race, which is what he needs to do. He's 3.1 ahead. He needs to hold on. Machine Ireland now into P2, and the man that won Saudi Arabia last season on the last game could be set for a win here. He's got 3 laps to go, and he needs to close the gap by 5 tenths. Can he do it? 2 wins last season, multiple TGP1 race winner. He's never won the championship. It's what he wants to do this season in the kick. Can he get close enough to Casper, who has the penalty, who has quicker softs, but it's only by a lap. It's 3.6 the gap, and he needs to get that down to under 3. Can he do it with 2.5 laps to go? This is what we're going to find out. This is what we're going to keep watching, keeping an eye on, and seeing if he can. But he needs to keep an eye out on Gioviamani, on Phil, guys that are experienced, that have been in the game a long time. They have won multiple races. They have won multiple races on other categories as well. So this race is far but over, and Casper, whose lead should be secure, is in absolute danger. 8 tenths the gap is not a lot in TGP1. Guys can close that up in a 2 or 3 lap stint. And with 2 laps to go now, the boys need to get a move on if they're going to win this Grand Prix. Well then, DRS is open. Gioviamani moves to the left hand side, and Machine Ireland knows better than to try and attack that. And Gioviamani now into P2, which at the moment looks set to be P2. Dan Morris and Corgill going hammer and tong and fist to try and get P5 from each other. And Dan Morris, someone who's impressed me tonight, in P2 in qualifying, and he's managed to hold on to a top 6 place. Very, very impressive from the Haas driver. If he can hold on to that, it is. Professor has some time penalties, so believe he will. Sheck Wace and Lewis Craig, they're still battling. Matt Tibbles, though, who's had a lot older mediums, is hanging on as well. So we could see some battles for P10 come the end of this Grand Prix also. 10 lap old medium tyres for Matt Tibbles. What a Grand Prix it will be for him if he can get those to the end and beat Lewis Craig and Sheck Wace. Well, time will tell if that is a possibility. But it's all about the boys out front. Casper has 1 and a bit laps to go to hold on to a 9/10 advantage, to win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, to win the 4th Grand Prix of his TGP1 career, and try and set down the marker that he will lead tonight as championship leader. A fastest lap, a race win, and a race podium, I believe, was second place. He'll lead the championship if he can win this Grand Prix. But it's not about winning the Grand Prix at the moment. It's about Phil getting on the podium. He's closing that gap, but not enough as we start the final lap of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix here in Jeddah tonight. What a night it's been. Fantastic racing from the drivers. And from start to finish, it's been entertaining as Lewis Craig's dropped down the order, and Lewis Craig's actually had a crash or been taken out because he's out of the points again, or he's still in them, but is in very big danger of being overtaken by Neljak. And there you go. Lewis is pitting, so he's broken his wing, and Lewis Craig will not score points tonight. He's not happy retiring in the pits, so that could be a crash that's cost him to rage quit. So Lewis Craig won't be happy with that. No points tonight, 15th and 15th. He'll need to get the head down and get going again for next week. But on the final lap, we're into the final sector. There's not much that can change now in terms of winning the race. The gap stayed about 8 tenths. It went down to 3.6, it went up to 4.2, but it stabilised at 3 tenths. But we'll watch Casper come round the final corner. And for the second time tonight, we've got a different winner, of course. In round 2 in Saudi Arabia, it's Casper who wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Jovial Mane will hold on to P2. Machine Ireland holds on to the podium. Phil Bardwell comes home in 4th, getting 12 points, which is valuable to him. Dan Morris sneaks 5th. A great result for him tonight. Court Gill takes P6, and that is great for him. Viva Lamerico and Dom Smith 7th and 8th. Bevesser, who did finish ahead of these guys in the road, had multiple penalties. And Matt Tibos is going to come home in 10th on 11, 12 lap old hards and mediums, so fair play to him. Sheck Weiss in 11th. Aidan Griffins and Chris Johnson swap positions on the final lap. Nell Jack will take the final point tonight in Saudi Arabia. And what an opening night in TGP1 it was. Not many people could stop him. Casper here, no one laid a glove on him here. He got the points, Mark's points tonight. He was unfortunate not to get the win in Bahrain, but he'll take it. A win, second in the fastest lap, 1 pole position. And well, we're getting used to seeing Finnish drivers in TGP1 on the podium. Viva l'Americo, Casper. It's just becoming a trend, really. The Irishmen as well, showing what they've got. And Phil did the boys proud in the opening race in Bahrain. So there's your race winners. It's Phil, Bardwell 88 and ERT Casper win the Grand Prix. And it's been a fantastic night of racing once more in TGP1. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've had, because this is absolutely magnificent. As you see, the classified order there will come. Disappointing night for himself, had some disasters. Disappointing night for Lewis Craig. He 15th and 15th. Chris Johnson got some good points. Matt Tibos got some good points. But my driver of the day is actually going to go to Phil. 4th place and P1. Great opening night points. He's going to be about 2nd in the championship, and he's deserved everything he has got himself tonight. He's got some good points on the board as we head across the pond, down under to Australia, and then up to Japan for rounds 3 and 4 next Tuesday at 7:15. We're going to go again, ladies and gentlemen. For one more time, I hope you've enjoyed the Grand Prix tonight. I hope you can watch it back and enjoy it as much as I've had. And next week, we'll get some interviews with drivers. It wasn't prepared for this opening night. We didn't kind of know the order, who's going to be where in the pecking grid. But next week, we'll get some interviews done with the drivers if you want to see. Hopefully, I'll have a co-commentator to save my voice a wee bit. I think my voice has gotten deeper by a couple of syllables towards the end of the night. But I've been Jack Craig 28, and I hope to see you next time on TGP1. We'll see you on PS4.